Alright, so now we touch the topic of weathering, and I'm showing you this boat now into the process already, but I'm going to cover how I've done this and show you a little bit more as we go. You can see some nice rust, touches of green around the top of the ballast tank, and so on, and marks where the water has come out of the slots and so on, particularly toward the back of the boat where you've got the diesel engines and all of the stink from that. So overall I'm pretty happy with this, and here's the gun with a bit of rust and a bit of this and a bit of that on it. Nothing about these boats was very clean in the end. And what I've used to do this, you can buy kits for doing, for weathering and rusting. What I did though firstly was I got a little bit of paint, black paint, and put in with that a little bit of umber and just made it very, very watery. And then I used that to make to do the marks under the drain holes. And by making it watery, it also sort of runs along various things and fills in some of the cracks. And then I got a bigger brush and got some fairly old paint, old blackish paint from the same can, just going around the edge, made it really sticky, and just speckled a little bit around the exhaust. Honestly, some people are brilliant with weathering. It's a really difficult art because you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it, but you want it to be about right. When I was talking about painting, you'll note that I made the comment that when you go down and look at ships, none of them are that clean. In fact, a good friend of mine said with boats, really you should paint them, have them all shiny, and keep them like that for at least a year. And when they start to get battered and worn, that's when you should start doing something like this. It's a bit of a trick. You don't want to be covering up bad workmanship by your weathering, but I'll let you in on a little secret. If you've got a bit of a ding or a bit of a problem, you can easily put some rust in, and lo and behold, it looks like it was intentional. Now, what I'm using here is a lovely pencil and a bastard file, and this is how I make the material for rust. Just have that dry in the bottom of a bowl. I'm using some terps here. You could also use some soapy water, because what you want to do is you want this to just flow in to the cracks. You want the little bits of rust sometimes just to sit in little clumps, and you can and at the same time you want it to be able to run over the side of the boat. Now I've done that with this, I think, quite successfully. I think the orange is nice. I've heard people also say that some deep red, a tiny bit of deep red, so I've actually done that on here as well, but you can't really see that. Now this colour is absolutely brilliant. Khaki, greeny, cruddy sort of stuff, mixture of mud on your boots and, mould and everything that you can think of is in that colour. I just love it. So, a little bit of that is very useful to put on walkways, places where feet go. So you can see I use a very technical method here. But I've got to say the result's not too bad. So I'm going to use this khaki stuff and put it on the boat. That's it, in and around where feet go and all of that sort of stuff. Now I've been putting a bit of a residue line around where the watermark is, and a bit of green in the running channels as well, because I think that would hopefully reflect the way the water line mark is. You don't want to overdo any of these things. It's got to be pretty subtle. But this is getting close to the finished effect. And now this is some nice newspaper with some pictures on it, and I'm using that because I want it to pick up the rivet heads that are so fine, they're barely visible really on this boat in general. So this is quite good, and it's actually making more visible the rivet lines. Now I'm using some top coat, and I bought this from the local model shop, and what it does is it fixes all of your lovely rust in place and it leaves it flat. You don't want this obviously to be shiny, and I've given this now 2 or 3 coats, and it's all nice and flat and nicely protected so that your rust doesn't come off in your friend's swimming pool. And that's it. Thank you.